Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. So if you guys are watching this video, then the hope is that you guys have already been keeping up with my series that I had created, the I Kissed the Frog series and the Hussy and the Frog. And so now that we've gotten past all of the salacious, you know, it was tea for some but testimony for others, including myself because I went through it. So this video, I'm not sure what I'm going to title it just yet, but it will definitely cover maybe not all 4 questions, but definitely 4 questions that I presented to myself back on August 19, 2020. And so that was the time where I was in the thick of my grieving. I had just filed for divorce days before. So I had filed for divorce on August 17th. He was served on August 19th. So this was actually the day that I served him divorce papers. I wrote these 4 questions and I answered these 4 questions probably that day and over some time. So I knew that it would be helpful not just for myself but for someone else when I made it to the other side. And so now I feel like it's the perfect time to share with you guys the 4 questions that I asked myself. More than likely this video might be broken out into 2 different videos because it might be a little lengthy. But just know that I am very authentic to what I'm saying. This is actually the first video where my son is in the house and he could possibly hear me and listen. And so if I'm saying it out loud for my child to hear, that definitely means like I believe what I'm saying. I feel confident in what I'm saying, and also these are lessons and conversations that I would have with my own child. So just know, you know, hopefully I can keep it together. So the first question that I asked myself back then is, why did I get a divorce? So for me, the reason why I decided to get a divorce is because I wanted peace. Y'all, people don't tell you, you know, when you growing up and you know you about to get into adulting, we talk about bills and everything like that. But I feel like something that definitely gets left out of the conversation is peace. Okay, some other things like boundaries and stuff like that, but peace, man, I did not know how precious my peace was until I went through this marriage. And even once I got separated, I got peace then. But throughout my whole marriage, I don't believe that I ever felt at peace. And so for me, it was like I was tired of walking on eggshells. I was tired of not feeling safe within my home or within my spirit in general. Like I just did not feel at peace in general. And so for me, that was one of the major reasons that I decided, like, you know what, this isn't working for me. And yes, I'm in church. Yes, I'm reading my word. And yes, I took vows, but I knew, and you guys know from the videos that I posted, that like that wasn't the right marriage for me. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to get a divorce. Another reason that I decided to get a divorce was because I was tired of being alone and lonely. And so they don't tell you about that. You know that it's a possibility that you can be with someone, you can marry someone and still feel very alone within your marriage and still feel very alone in your household. And so there were plenty of days, plenty of moments where I just did not feel like I had a husband or a partner. So it's interesting because I'm an introvert, so I definitely love my alone time and I have a bunch of hobbies. Like I love different things. So for me, it wasn't the fact that I wanted to be with my significant other all the time, but it was when we are in the same space, feeling like there's a disconnect, feeling like there are words unspoken, or again, I have to walk on eggshells so I can't say how I really feel, or knowing like, hey, this isn't the type of marriage that I want and I want to communicate that to you, but you're not listening or you don't want to hear me out. And so those were very alone moments and lonely feelings, and feeling like I want to improve my marriage, but I'm the only one that wants to improve my marriage. So then you know how back in the day they tell you know what goes on in your house stays in your house, and you know all of those, you know, sayings that they had back then. So for me, it was I was feeling things, I was seeing things, and I didn't know who to go to talk to. And even if I did go to a trusted advisor, you know, a pastor or whatever, I felt like it wasn't authentic. And it wasn't authentic because I couldn't be my honest self and I couldn't say what I really wanted to say for fear that, you know, consequences would come from it. And so all of that was a very lonely feeling. We went to couples counseling. Yes, we were in what is it called, couples ministry. I remember feeling like when topics would come up or people were having their issues and concerns, I would bite my tongue, because I knew like, ooh, if I say that, you know, I might get in trouble, or he's gonna be upset or whatever. Like, I'm sitting in this room with other couples and I want to open up, but I can't. So yes, that was a very alone and lonely feeling. So another reason why I decided to get a divorce was because I wanted a healthy, loving, safe relationship. I think those were the top three: healthy, loving, safe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those were my top three. So yeah, honestly, that is what I wanted my relationship to be. I wanted a healthy relationship. Anybody that knows me, whether I'm a friend, a family member, or whatever, like, I thrive in a healthy environment. And so for me, I knew that the relationship was toxic, and it became more toxic over time, and it took a toll on me. And so while I knew that there is no perfect marriage and that everyone has, you know, their vices or whatever that they have to go through, I knew there should still be a healthy level of communication. There should still be a healthy level of disagreements or conflict. You know, there should be a healthy level of just everything, love, you know? And so to know that I wasn't getting those things, and I knew like, hey, I might not have always seen what a healthy relationship looks like or a healthy marriage looks like, but I'm doing the research and I know internally how I think I should feel. You know, it's like if you treat me somewhere, if you say something and it kind of stings or burns a little, I know like, I don't really like that. So that's kind of how I figured out what healthy looks like for me. And loving, like, I know that I'm a very affectionate person. I am a lover. I call myself a hopeful romantic. I'm not hopeless no more, child, but I'm definitely a hopeful romantic. And so I know that I want to feel in love with my significant other, with my partner. I know that I want to be affectionate with my partner, and I want, when my partner sees me, they get excited to see me come in the room, and you know, like, I want those feelings. Not, I didn't change my hair. Now, y'all know I can change my hair daily if I wanted to, multiple times of the day. And for the individual to like not even notice or care, or I was the one that had to say like, did you notice my hair? Do you like my hair like this? Do you like this outfit? And I feel like another thing that played into it is over time, my confidence and my self-worth has grown. And so now I'm in a space where it's like, I don't wait for someone else to tell me that I look good. Like, I know I look good, okay? Do you see this hair? Do you see this makeup? Like, sorry. But like, I'm at that space now where it's like, I know, you know, what I'm bringing to the world, okay? And so for me, it's like, I want a significant other that acknowledges that and is proud to have me, right? But if I go out in the world and I got this person and this person trying to talk to me from, you know, my house to my car, from my car to my job, at my job, but the person that I'm married to barely looking at me twice, I don't feel like that is the right relationship or marriage for me. So safe is another huge one for me. I want to feel emotionally and physically safe within my relationship, within my marriage. And so for me, I know that if I do not feel especially emotionally safe, then you're not even gonna get to my heart. And that's where I'm at now in 2022. I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt. If I do not feel emotionally safe, physically safe, like, we done. We're done. This is not gonna work. And so it's unfortunate to know that that's how I felt within my marriage. And so for me, that was a major reason where it was like, I gotta get out for my safety, for my mental health, for my sanity, for everything, for my child, okay? I need to get out. And so I think to add on to a bonus would definitely be my child. It's funny, I feel like my voice always changes when I talk about him because, like, clearly y'all know, like, he holds a special place in my heart. And so for me, having been a single parent and then getting married and, you know, him getting to witness what looked like, you know, a two-parent household and a family and all of that, I had to really take into consideration, like, should I get a divorce, right? And what I realized is I don't want my son to just see me in a marriage. I want him to see me loved properly. So I want him to see me loving myself properly, but also being loved properly by another individual. And so for me, I knew that that was what he wasn't getting. And so it was like, yeah, he's not seeing, you know, arguing and fussing and fighting, because I'm doing a dang good job of shielding him from that. But is he really seeing his mother loved properly? And the answer was no. And so for me, that's another reason why I was like, I need to get a divorce. So hopefully by me answering that question, you guys are shocked to know that it had nothing to do with my husband or ex-husband's indiscretions. Like I told you guys, I did not find that stuff out until after I had already asked for the divorce, after we had already separated. So you guys know that this was a decision within myself, that I did not need another woman or, you know, the financial abuse or any other abuse to make that decision for me. Yeah, they were factors, meaning like the financial abuse definitely was a factor. The emotional abuse definitely was a factor, but like him, you know, messing with other women and everything else, that was not a factor in why I decided to get a divorce. So next, I asked myself, what role did I play in the demise of my relationship, my marriage? And so I feel like that is a very healthy question to ask oneself. I ask myself that anytime I am getting out of a relationship, what role did I play? Because I definitely do not believe that the demise of a relationship is just solely on one person. And so for me, I do like to take accountability for my actions and my role. And so I felt like that was a very healthy question. So I asked myself, what role did you play? So in looking at my notes, the first thing that I put was I compromised too early. Man, isn't that a powerful one? Yes. So when we went on our first date, I thought I had did everything right. You know, we had talked up until that first day. So I think we talked on the phone for like maybe, I think it was like 2 weeks or so. We talked on the phone. Then I accepted, you know, going on a date. And he picked me up, you know, whatever. We go to lunch. And while we were at lunch, we were having just a natural conversation. And in that conversation, he mentioned not wanting to have children anymore. And when he said that, I was like, oh, okay, well, it was a pleasure having, you know, lunch with you. Thank you so much. Like, you can take me home now. And so anybody that knows me knows like this is how that conversation went. And so I remember seeing this look on his face, and I interpreted it as like he was sad because, you know, he really liked me or whatever. And, you know, that was me being clueless, y'all. Not knowing that he was a whole fraud and whole narcissist. That look that I was seeing was actually him saying like, dang it, I'm losing her and I got to figure out a way to like bring her back in. And so then he changed his answer and he was like, oh no, you know, with the right woman, you know, I'm definitely open to having more kids, because like I'm still open to having children, you know, at least another child. I have a son and I don't want him to be the only child. And so at that moment I was like, oh, okay, well, he's open to it. So like, I guess we can continue to see like how this goes. And so I don't know if I found out at that date right then and there or if I found out later on, but he had a vasectomy. So when I found that out, that was another moment where I could have left, because if I know that I want to have children potentially in the future and this man has a vasectomy, then clearly we don't mesh, right? But he told me like it was reversible, and you know, basically we had did the research and he was open to getting the surgery done. So that's how we continue to move forward. But every time it would come time to like schedule an appointment, he basically would just drop the ball. And so of course now I know it's because he didn't really want children, and so that's what he did to, you know, loop me in his web. So after compromising too early, I think something else that I did was I thought that I could heal his brokenness. And so when I first met him and, you know, we're going through the dating stages and the talking stages, you know, he gives me this sob story about his previous relationships. And y'all, red flag, if they always say it was the other person, like that is a red flag. Like, whew, if you can't take accountability, that's a red flag. And so for me, I was just like, oh my goodness, he's been through so much. Like, I can love him through it. I can help him through it. I can heal his heart. Do y'all see me? Look, this is me looking at myself, because like, sis, no, I am not. Look, I ain't Jesus, I ain't a therapist. And so that I confidently know that now, like, that's not my responsibility, okay? It's not my responsibility. Like, send me a healed man, okay? Or someone that is already working on healing himself by going to therapy like I am, going to church, or whatever. So another role that I played was I was not honest with myself about the residual pain that I was going through at the time that I had met him. And so during that time, I believe, no, I'm confident, like, my father and I weren't speaking, and that has always been a, you know, up and down, back and forth relationship. And then my son's father, again, back and forth, up and down relationship. So I think at that time he was, you know, just a pain in my, you know what. So when he came into my life, I think I just saw it as like protection. Like, this is a figure that can like protect me. However, that is not what I got. And honestly, I needed protection from him. So another role that I played was trusting too soon. I wholeheartedly believe he never earned my trust. I just willingly gave it to him. But he never showed me anything that made me feel like he was trustworthy. From the beginning, if I really look back, you know, just over everything, he lied from the beginning. Like, literally lied from the beginning. So yeah, he was never trustworthy, but I just gave it to him. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but never did he earn my trust. So another role that I played was I overlooked major red flags. So of course at the time, I don't believe that I knew that they were red flags, and now I'm, you know, pretty well versed in them. But looking back, I definitely overlooked red flags financially, spiritually, emotionally, and just knowing like his stories just never added up, or there was always an excuse. And so for me, those are red flags. And it's interesting because I wrote a quote here that says, if you catch yourself begging someone for human decency, a response, time together, clarity, respect, compassion, or even some kindness, you need to take a step back and realize that you're begging someone for the bare minimum, and that's ridiculous. Wow. So yeah, I still stand on that quote. When I wrote that quote, what, 2 years ago at this point, almost 2 years ago, that's something that I've unpacked it with my therapist multiple times, which is when you haven't had something in the past, you accept the bare minimum because like you didn't have it. And so that's essentially what I was doing, and I didn't even know it. I unconsciously was like, oh, you know, he's buying flowers, he's, you know, taking me on dates or whatever, but like that was the bare minimum. But like, where was his integrity? You know, what's his character like that kind of stuff, you know? And so when you guys see me talking about, you know, all of the stuff that I have been through, the reason why I can heal through it and move forward is because I can think back and be like, where were you at that time in your life? Where were you mentally, spiritually, emotionally? And what role did you play? And why essentially your marriage failed, and you got a divorce. But, you know, ultimately, again, that was still the best decision for me. So those are 2 out of the 4 questions that I asked myself in 2020. So my camera died, so I'm not sure where I ended, but basically I was wrapping up the video telling you guys that I will be posting the second video, part 2 of these questions. I hope that you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to ask me questions down below if you have any questions that you guys want me to talk about. So I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video.